Hi, guys. On today's video walkthrough, we're going to be talking through an exact conversation that I had with one of my clients the other day. And it is how I and you can use your own favorite AI tools to help with your website's GEO, which means making sure that your website, your services, you in general are getting pulled into relevant search terms as people are going to ChatGPT, Claude, using Gemini or the AI search results at the top of Google's search results pages to make sure that you're actually being shown, because we're seeing a trend that people are using these AI tools to aggregate information faster and synthesize the data and information faster than we can just going to Google ourselves. And also kind of taking it further from like, hey, just find service providers near me or find fill in the blank near me, to more real life nuanced questions of like, when I was finding a therapist, it was like, I was looking for a somatic based therapy that had EMDR expertise, was specialized in eating disorders and body things like that, and also was licensed to practice in Florida and took my insurance. When I gave it that, it was able to pull in, I think it was only three service providers who ticked every single box, as opposed to me just like trying to figure that out on my own. So that's how people are using these tools. And that's why it's so important to make sure that your website is cooperating with the tools in the way that they need to be cooperated with, so that you get served for those hyper specific, hyper relevant, ready to buy searches that people are using it for. So by the end of this video, you will very clearly know how to train your AI, run a GEO audit, get a working punch list of what exactly to update, add, edit, delete, all of that stuff, and also where you can then leverage AI tools as well to do the heavy lifting, so that it's not all on you to fix. And I will say that I personally am not the SEO expert on my team. I have SEO and GEO experts on my team, and I know that some of this is just making do for if it's a smaller team. Like, the reason that you would come to us is because we are really well versed in best in class practices for your SEO, your GEO. But if you don't have the team, if you don't have the resources just yet to hire someone like us, this is a great start, so that you can start to make sure that your website is working really well with the AI tools to at least get that momentum going. So I am now very much a Claude girly. I was a ChatGPT user for the longest time, so I'll speak to ChatGPT as well, but a lot of what I'm going to be doing will actually be in Claude, and then just speaking to how it would operate on ChatGPT, pointing you to some of my other how-to videos to go deeper onto the ChatGPT side. And also, my website is built on Showit, but this is kind of the same for any website host that you're using. And also, in addition to my caveat of this is a great first step, but like if you want to be really serious, like you should have a formal GEO program, all that stuff. I have a feeling that I'm about to get read to filth on here, and I'm just kind of being as okay with that as I can be. Because in quintessential shoemaker shoes, we are so good at this for our clients, and I'm not concerned at all about my website since I last did a heavy audit and a heavy lift at the end of 2025. So I will say that I have had leads come in because of that. And also I'm now recording this at the end of June 2026, and I have been a little negligent. So we will see what you guys find here. So let's get into it. The first order of business, regardless of what your website is built on, regardless of if you're using ChatGPT or Claude, is whichever your tool is, it has to be so well trained on who you are, what you do, who your target audience is, what your services are. It has to know all of that stuff like the back of its hand in order to be really effective and powerful. So what I recommend people do is really sit and take the time to deeply, deeply train your tools. So if you're in Claude and you have the pro version, you would create a project. If you're in ChatGPT, that would be a custom GPT. I will link the videos to how you do each of those, hopefully here, if I can figure that out. So like I said, I'm using Claude. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to actually go into my Claude. I'm going to show you the few different ways that you can actually do this. Okay. So now we are in Claude at the beginning. And the first thing you're going to do, if you haven't done it already, and like I said, I'll drop some resources below, is you come to projects. And this is where, if you don't already have it, like I have a project for a bunch of the stuff that I'm doing for the agency, different clients, all of that stuff. That's where you would either start the conversation from a project that you've already have trained, or if you don't already have it, you would start a new project and you would put everything in and then just evaluate to make sure that it truly understands you. So what I'm going to do next is I am going to come into my digitally enhanced marketing project, and there's a few different ways that you can do this. So one, you can come directly from a project. If you don't have Pro, you could just chat and start a new chat. And I'm going to give you the prompts for what you're saying. The other thing that I have and love is, here's my website. I just have the Claude extension right here. I'm on Chrome. You can download if you just go Claude Chrome extension, you go to the web store, you would download it there, and that's so it can crawl your things. And so as you can see right now, it's tied to my website. So already 3 different ways. You can go regular chat, you can go from a project, you can go from the extension in your browser. You can also do it from Claude Cowork. Similar but different for ChatGPT. You can do it in a regular new chat thread, or you can do it from your custom GPT that you have trained. What I actually want to do is I'm going to start from a project, and I'm going to go back here and I'm going to pull in my prompt, and then, okay, so I'm going to say, let me actually pull in this prompt. So what I do is I own a digital marketing agency, and I do a lot of different things, but lately, because of how I've set up my GEO and website in the past, I'm going to say that for anyone looking for marketing automations and AI systems, who's also an expert on pet services, because if you go to my website, you can see on industries, we have a lot of experience with pet services. So I'm hoping that that means that we've positioned ourselves for a pretty good standing. So prompt is someone described needing a digital marketing agency partner for, let's actually start with, I'm evaluating and want to enhance my website's GEO. My website is, I'll just copy, paste. Is someone described needing a digital marketing partner for marketing automations and AI systems who's also an expert on pet services? Would I get pulled into the results or not? And if not, what do I need to do to update my website to show in relevant searches like this? Let me also say, no, that's fine. We're going to use that prompt. So now it's going to start a new thread, and this is where we can start to see what it has to say from us or about our website. And as you can see, it's pulling everything in. This is where I might get red to fill. Okay, perfect. So this is where it starts to give you the real honest feedback of like, where do you stand? Where do you not stand? What do you need to do? So I would read through this, gaps to fix, blah, blah, blah. And as you can see, the main thing that it's pulling up is like, I have this in piecemeal throughout the website. I have different pages, but the stuff that I'm leading with is like, I used to talk a lot about companies who are ready to trade for the chaos for the consistent revenue. So obviously updating that. And then also more importantly, bringing them together, not making people have to fill in the gaps of like, oh, she's on this page. I can see that they work with a lot of pet services. Let me X out of this for right now. And then on our services page, you can see that, oh, they do marketing automation and AI services. Also, I will say, pro tip, crawlers don't love accordions. And so from a design standpoint, I do love them. But then there are other things that you'd want to do from a technical functional standpoint to make sure that the crawlers are getting the information that you need. And again, this is why we do all the GEO, so that we can pull in we have all these pieces over here, but we need to tie them all together. And also structurally, we need to make sure that they are working together so that it's very seamless for both the crawlers. And then when you do get pulled into that relevant search and the human goes and looks at it, that get it in a split second of like, oh, this is the person for me. This makes so much sense. So this is here we go from there. Let's pretend that I did all this. And so that was just one thing. Other things that you can ask at this point are just kind of like, based off of what you can crawl on my website, what do you see that I am an expert in, or that I'm not an expert in, or that like I wouldn't rank? Have I positioned my website in a way that was relevant to who I am now, but based off of what I've recently trained you on, what my goals, initiatives, my go forward plan is there a mismatch, a disconnect, all of that stuff. So you can start to ask those very tactical, very practical questions, and also ask like, are there other questions that I should be asking that I'm not necessarily asking just yet? But that's the big picture, high level thing. We also want to make sure that we're getting more grounded, more tactical, because that's really important too. That's really where the rubber starts to meet the road. So what I'm going to do is I wrote it out because I've realized when I try to talk and type, it's just wasting time for everyone. And I make so many mistakes and it's so embarrassing. But so this is where we start to ask for more granular things. So I'm just going to copy and paste. So moving into more granular GEO needs. Okay. So we're back. And as you can see, it's starting to actually outline exactly where things are, like the state of them, what needs help. So like some things that are really important that I, like I said, haven't done because I'm focused on my client success over mine sometimes, for better or for worse. But this is where you can start to see like, okay, kind of getting this, not really sure, but actually it starts to ask the questions or answer the questions of like, hey, what's exactly not happening and why? And so from here, again, it's still going. Okay, so as you can see here, this is a question that I always want to ask. And I think it's really important because sometimes we just kind of forget. But I said, is there anything that I'm not asking that I should be asking? It was like, hey, you really need to be paying attention to page speed, core web vitals, Google Search Console, coverage report, brand. So SERP, SERPs is search engine results pages, AI citation testing, EEAT, signals beyond schema. And EEAT is something like experience, expertise, authority, trust. I just had to relook it up because I forgot. But making sure that I'm really reinforcing that with everything I do. So this is where, again, if I was doing this in real time, I would actively be adding it in. But so the next step that I like to say is, this is so great. Thank you. Can you please give me both the overall punch list of everything I need to tackle? This is why I normally have it ready to go in priority order, as well as the step by step approach for me to do it in a best in class manner. Explain it to me as if I'm a fifth grader doing this. And then normally, for time's sake, I'm going to wrap this all into one thing, but oftentimes you would start there and see what you get and then kind of take it into, okay, so how do I actually make this come to be? And so that's where it would be like, okay, what do I do? What can you help me with? And so there's a lot of things that these tools can help you with. Obviously, they can help with writing page copy and writing the metadata. Also, if you're using things like SEMrush, like they have their tools as well that you could be plugging this into. I assume if you're here, you're probably not using SEMrush, but I might be wrong. But so in addition to copywriting, helping with the page structure and making sure that your H1 titles, all of that stuff, body copy is in the right order to make sure that it's crawlable, getting your site schema up, putting it into the right places, all of that stuff. In addition to that, which is a mouthful, and hopefully you stayed along as I was spewing all that out, you now have additional tools like you can vibe code in Claude Code if you have that. They just released a design studio. So there are also things that you can do to actually say like, okay, cool, I need this page. Can you like fully write, design it, do the metadata, all of that stuff for me. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do, let me just fix this typo, is additionally, I'm going to say, because I have the pro version of Claude, knowing that I have the pro version of Claude, please delineate, I don't know why I'm using that word, but that's okay, what I would have to do and what me or someone on my team would have to do versus what you can fully handle for us with some overview. Delineate. Hate how it just like bumps you up to the middle of the chat. So again, it's working. And this is where it starts to actually build out like, hey, here's your plan. You've got this. Like, and I'm going to help you. And I love that because like I've said 500 times, me and my team, we're too busy helping our clients. So we're not thinking about the company's website unless there's a glaring mistake that's actively impacting our business. And I will say that this is actively impacting our business and it should be prioritized more. But thankfully, we're in a place where like this can be put on the back burner. So all that to say, this is what it looks like. And you can kind of see like how beautiful and how easy it is to understand. So phase one, who's handling what, all of that stuff, how long it takes. And then when you go into it normally, let me see. or this is just the list. Okay. So it's now just the list, and then it's going to give me the exact, this is what you need to do. And then it'll oftentimes, if you want it to, or you ask it to, it will pull it into a downloadable Word document. It will connect to your Notion if you want. And that's how you project manage. I think it also connects to like Monday, things like that. And this is where it's actually describing word for word, step by step, as if I'm a fifth grader, what exactly is happening next, who does it, all of those things. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second so I can talk to you guys. So hopefully this was helpful. One thing, let me share my screen again, because one thing that I do want to call out, and I'll try to drop them in here as well, but let me X out of here. So this is my YouTube page, and you can see I already have some content that I will try to drop below in the description that could be supportive. So like if you need a Claude skill to help with this, agents, Claude projects, that was really important, how we're doing the training. Let me see. Custom GPT. So if you're using ChatGPT instead of Claude, these are all here. So they should be helpful in addition to this video. But yeah, you've got this. I will drop those resources. I will also drop the training resources that you can download and buy for like $37 to jumpstart this, and you don't have to do it all on your own. But you've got this. If you have any questions or confusion or things that pop up, leave the comment below. I'll make sure to answer it, or have someone on my team answer it who is more well-versed in SEO, GEO, or we could create a follow-up video. But thank you guys so much. Also, I'll be recording a similar but different podcast episode on this with more examples and more how-tos. So once that's live, I will connect that here. But you guys got this. I'm so excited for you, and I will talk to you later.